let's turn to James chapter 4, verse 13 through 17. This is a warning about self-confidence. It says, "Look here, you who say, today or tomorrow, we are going to a certain town and we will stay there a year. We will do business there and make a profit. How do you know what your life will be like tomorrow? Your life is like a morning fog. It is here a little while, then it's gone. What you ought to say is, if the Lord wants us to," the New King James Version says, "if the Lord wills, we will do this or do that. Otherwise, you are boasting about your own plans, and such boasting is evil. Remember, it is sin to know what you ought to do and not do it." So here, James is writing this. And remember, James is the brother of Jesus, grew up with Jesus. And so, by the power of the Holy Spirit, he's writing this, right? And he's talking about self-confidence. Why is this called self-confidence? Because for me to make plans without acknowledging God is really arrogant. It's like me saying that I'm going to live tomorrow. How do I know I'm going to live tomorrow? So that's why we say, if God wills, we're going to do this or do that, because we don't know what tomorrow brings. Only God knows. And by doing so, we're humbling ourselves. So he says that when people start making plans without acknowledging God, he calls that boasting. And that was in verse 16. He said, and he says, you're boasting about your own plans. But not only that, he says, and such boasting is evil. So as believers of Jesus Christ, we should never boast about tomorrow, make plans without acknowledging the Lord, because that's such boasting is evil, and we don't want to be associated with anything that's evil. So for us, we should make it a practice and a habit to acknowledge God in all our plans and to always say, if God wills. I say this because one time I heard a preacher once say that, well, this doesn't necessarily mean that I have to say if God wills for everything I do. I'm not going to tell my wife, hey, I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'll be back if God wills. Kind of started mocking. Look, we're talking about plans here. Just make it a habit, because the Bible's telling us, look what he says in verse 15. He says, he's talking to believers here, and he says, what you ought to say, ought. This is what you should say, Christians. And what is it we should say? If God wills. I should never teach you guys the opposite of that. So we should teach our children to depend on God, to trust in God, and to acknowledge God in all our plans. Because when we boast about tomorrow, it's evil.
No, that's true. And we have no idea what our life's going to be like tomorrow. If we're going to be able to see tomorrow.
Right.
So, yeah, we do have that attitude like it's promised. It's not promised that you will see tomorrow. I mean, you can have plans for the future, but it's up to the Lord if those plans will be carried out. Lord's willing.
Yes. Even that Matthew chapter 6 verse 33 also, 33, 36 also, you see, don't boast for tomorrow.
Yes.
Don't boast. But we should have self-confidence ourselves, but we have to trust in the Lord.
Yes. Amen.
That's Psalm 1:8. And then in that verse 17, you see, therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. We know if we do not do, okay? We know trusting in the Lord, right? We know it is good. But if we are not trusting in the Lord, it is sin. So,
Amen.
with knowing if we are not do. Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to say, I'm going to go to work tomorrow. You can say that. It's a whole different, you're not boasting, right? It's something that you do. If there's something we want to do, like, hey, can you take us to get donuts tomorrow? I always tell the kids, if the Lord wills, we'll do it. I remember, I think you had told us a story back in the days when we were going to Dunkin' Donuts, that there was a guy, and this might be the same pastor, that was posting something online about, we're going to go on vacation. We're going to go to, I don't know if it was Puerto Rico or something.
Puerto Rico.
and you told him, shouldn't you be saying, if the Lord wills? I don't know if he said, we're going this time, we're coming back, to whatever it was. A pastor should be leading that way. He just should, and then you said he ended up getting stranded. He gave you a hard time, I guess, about saying something. He ended up getting stranded. There was,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a brother of ours named Rick Conver. Remember Rick Conver?
I remember Rick, biker. Yeah.
Yeah. So he, rode Harleys and stuff, and I think he was a believer. I mean, from what I saw, it seemed like he loved the Lord. And I remember he was with us on a Thursday night, and he said, "Hey guys, pray for me, because I'm on Saturday, I'm going to go talk to a bunch." Did he say he was going to go talk to a bunch of bikers or a bunch of inmates? I don't remember what it was.
Probably a bunch of bikers, yeah.
And he passed away the next day.
Yeah.
He got into an accident. Really sad, but he got into an accident and never had the opportunity to do that. I just remembered that he didn't say, if the Lord wills. I'm not saying that has anything to do with it, because I think that was just the time that the Lord had for him.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking that, and just thinking it's important to say that, because it turned out it wasn't the Lord's will for him to do that.
Yes, one is the planning, and the androgen is different. Everyone is planning, right? The planning is what we are planning, we have do. But androgen and then that boasting, this thing, how to say, it is same like this pride.
Right.
Yeah.
We see in action, the way they speak and the way they do in their action, we know whether he or she is, how to say, androgen or pride, or right, boasting, or
Right.
just for sharing vision and sharing planning is we should share our planning, just to know how we are planning. Now, what I can do, what I do. Let us say that, like Isaiah chapter 14, say that I am. It is not good, right? It's like this boasting.
Yeah.
Right. The Bible says boasting. If boasting is, and just now we say, all such boasting is evil. We see.
Right.
Yeah, so acknowledging that God is in control. We don't run saying, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Yeah, Lord willing, I can do these things.
Yeah, right.